everybody, Steven here.
Hey guys, this is Allan.
And welcome to another episode of Paint Talk with That One Painter. Today we are talking about a few specialty primers. As promised in our last primer video, we said there were, you said 5 to 10. And then when I brought these three in, you said, what are these?
Well, I mean,
I'll just give you crap. You use this one a lot, we use this one a lot. We use this one sometimes. Just gotta give you a hard time.
It's okay. You're still missing some.
I know, it's not 5 or 10.
It's not. Neither one. You missed the mark. But it's okay. We'll have another one
7 more
there
in
you
the
go.
next video.
There you
This
go.
table
We'll
will
get
be filled with specialty
Eventually
primers.
we'll talk about all
No,
of
the truth is, Allan is right. There are a lot of primers. Some that you don't use all that often because you don't come into that situation necessarily all that often.
Right.
But others that you do. So these two are that we use a decent amount.
Yeah.
I'll talk about this one first. This one is a PVA primer. It is the cheapest primer on the market that you can get because it has one purpose, which is to seal new drywall.
Mm-hmm.
It has no other purpose. Don't try to use it for anything else because it doesn't stain block. It really doesn't have any adhesion ability. It really just has the ability to seal new drywall and new texture.
Yep.
Which is important because if you don't do that, your paint, basically that drywall is just going to drink the paint.
Yep.
And what's interesting is if you put paint straight onto new drywall or new texture, is sometimes it actually softens up the texture in a way that it actually can cause peeling, where you actually see the texture actually come right off the wall, or even the drywall to have some issues. So a PVA primer is used to seal in the drywall. It actually has a little bit of a hardening effect. Not much, it's still drywall, it's not that hard. But a little bit of a hardening effect, so that when you put on the paint and stuff, it doesn't just get basically soaked up and drank by the drywall. So for new construction, or you replace a few walls in a house or whatever, PVA primer, it's a nice cheap primer, seals up the drywall and lets you put the paint on after that.
And that's the Kelly Moore brand.
Yeah, this is the Kelly Moore one.
And pretty much everybody carries a PVA.
Every brand pretty much has a PVA primer. They're always around, I think, $8 to like $12.
$10 a gallon, about, you know, depending on the
8 to 12, 10, same thing.
In the middle.
In the middle.
Median.
8 to 12. Yeah, okay. Averages. Okay, so then we've got this shellac, which Allan has just got so much fun information for you guys about.
Oh yeah.
Well,
so shellac, it's kind of gross, but it's any shellac. I mean, a lot of women know about shellacs too because it's used a lot for fingernail polish.
Just say it, Allan. Secretion.
It's it's made from like bug poop. Essentially, there's a beetle that they get the shellac.
In India, right?
Yeah, there's a couple regions. Yeah,
regions.
I haven't been there. But
what does this beetle do again?
It poops this stuff. Anyways, hey, look, I don't make the stuff. I just
and then they dry it out, right?
Yeah. So they basically mix this shellac into the actual primer. Basically, though, all joking aside, this is the absolute best primer for odors, for stains. There's nothing better than. It's kind of interesting.
There's nothing better.
It's interesting that a primer made from poop is the best to cover odors like smoke. You know, and
if that isn't irony, what is?
That's
I mean,
that's definitely very interesting to say the least. But anyways, this primer is also one of the more expensive primers. Because shellac is really hard to get.
Well, beetles are really small.
There's only a certain amount. I mean, there's a lot of beetles for one can, you know. Anyways.
Oh my gosh! Have you thought about that? How many beetles it took?
I know, but anyways, the point is.
I'm sure the whole thing isn't.
Oh man!
They actually mix it with alcohol and some other things to get a shellac primer.
Right. And
shellac primers are really, really good for odor elimination.
Yes.
I walked into a house to do an estimate once, and the tenant that had lived there had about 30 or 40 cats or something that had been using the bathroom on all the carpets throughout the whole house, and so I had to go get like a respirator to walk the house. It was that strong of a smell. Like I really could not be in there without it. It was horrible. And so the bid I gave her and that they went with, and it did work, is we shellacked every paintable surface. I mean, we're talking trim, doors, walls, ceilings, the cabinetry, everything got touched with shellac primer. And not only that, the carpets were removed, and we shellacked all of the subflooring as well to seal in all those odors. And then once the new paint and the new flooring went in, it really did eliminate the odor. Along with that, they had to clean out all of their vents and a bunch of other stuff they had to do. But it really did work, and it is the only primer in that kind of situation that I would consider using. Some of the oil-based and other odor-eliminating primers that people talk about don't do as well. Shellac is like the #1 for those really bad situations.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people will swear by like the Kills oil-based, which is also really good. It's not that it's bad, but there's nothing quite as good as the shellac.
Not
I mean,
for
not for odor elimination. Yeah. For stain blocking, yeah, maybe the shellac and the oil-based Kills are about the same. So stain blocking, I would say they're not really much better than the other. Yeah. For odor, this has such a unique ability to literally like, I don't know, almost encapsulate or seal everything to the wall. That it just, I mean, smoker houses. Yeah,
you just did.
We literally just did one for a house that was a full gut remodel. They took the sheetrock down to the studs. The home had flooded out. It had been a home that, unfortunately, that looked like there had been some, like, you know, drug manufacturing or something happening in this home. And just, yeah, let's just say it was a funky home, and it smelled really bad. And, yeah, we literally put shellac on everything, and it really, it made a humongous difference. It really does. It's amazing how good it can get in a short amount of time.
Yeah. So yeah, we work with a lot of property managers, and being so, we end up with some of those projects where homes were not taken care of very well, and some awful smells. And one of the reasons that our property managers love us is we're really good at recommending the right product for the right situation. So, you know, that goes in all sorts of different directions and different applications. But one of the ones that we've done a lot is the shellac on homes that have a lot of smell, and the results have always been really good. Then we've got this one here in the middle, which is a Peel Stop Triple Thick. Actually, this is a clear primer. This one is a very much a specific use, specialty, which is on a lot of older homes. You have that old peeling paint, and it may not be possible to strip all the paint, at least in the budget. Sometimes it can be better off just replacing all the siding than trying to strip every square inch of paint. So if you're just going to kind of sand off that paint in the areas where it's the worst, and you want to seal it up so that where the paint peeled and where it didn't peel, you want a nice sealed up spot there. This triple thick stuff is pretty good. We also sometimes just take like a regular oil base and do 2 coats on it, and you get the same effect. But this one here is like a really thick primer that seals up those edges where it's peeled and not peeled, and seals it down, and it's really thick, so it does a little bit of leveling. I'll just be honest with you, it's not a miracle product.
No.
I mean, if you've got peeling siding.
If you got peeling, you're going to see it no matter how many times you hit it with
and in a few years, you're going to see more peeling. It's just the nature of having a really old home and not replacing the siding.
But this helps.
But this is a good option. It definitely helps. It definitely gives you some more longevity to those areas that you did prep on. But again, like 2 coats of regular oil-based, like Zinsser cover stain or one of those, we'll do basically the same thing. But it is a good product.
It's specialty, and the reason for that is because this isn't something we'd recommend for everyday use or most people's homes. It's a very specialty. Like, we have one home in particular that I've recommended this particular primer because it's a home that was built in probably 1950s, and it does have peeling areas, and customers concerned it's near a downtown area of potentially lead-based paint.
Right, and so they didn't want you to scrape a lot.
They don't want us to scrape. They don't want us to sand it. They don't want there to be any issues with that. And so the best possible thing to do in that specific scenario, using something like this, or like Steven said, 2 coats of an oil-based primer would do it too, but you're also then using more product. So usually we would use something like this and coat it all with a good
and it seals down
primer.
A lot of that peeling stuff. Again, not a miracle worker, but it definitely helps.
And so it helps that concern for that issue. So that's why knowing different, I'll be honest, like a lot of painters don't even know that there's so many different types of primers. A lot of painters have like 1 or 2 primers they use, and that's it. Yeah. They don't really look at other brands. Exactly, yeah. They don't even spend time going to different brands and seeing what's out there. Because, you know, like we said, this PVA, pretty much everybody has a PVA. That is true.
Yeah. Not everybody has
you know, a peel stop, and not everybody has a good shellac. Yeah. And so, you know, there's certain primers that are definitely... you definitely have to be a little bit more investigative and experimental and looking into different things to have that information.
This is also similar to some of the high build primers that's used sometimes for drywall, which is just really, really thick primers. This is triple thick, so it's supposed to be 3 times as thick as regular primer. I did use this once on a job where the customer had painted stripes on the wall. And so what happens when you paint stripes, and people don't always realize this, is you're creating different levels on the wall, just like... Really, it's really minor, but if you just put in 1 coat of paint, 2 coats of paint on top of that,
you can
and
still
you stand
see,
on the side, you can still see the stripes because of the unleveledness. And so what we did in that situation is we tried to sand all those edges where they put the stripes, just kind of lightly dull it down, buff it down, I guess, a little bit, and then we put 2 coats of this, and it definitely helped.
Of a high build.
Yeah, so we took... No, we used this one.
Did you really?
Yeah, we used this one. And because the high build, you can't always... Not every store carries them. We grabbed this from a... this one came from a Home Depot. We grabbed 2 gallons of it and rolled it out real heavy twice, and all those stripes were gone. That was along with some sanding, I'll say. But it smoothed it out, because this primer is pretty good on... You can put it on most surfaces, and pretty much every paint will stick to this. So it's clear, so sometimes for... spot priming, I actually find it a little bit annoying that it's not white, because you might not notice where you already put it, but it is a good product. Yeah, well, thank you guys for... I said that, and I think this one might be based. No, this is Tinable Clear, yeah. Anyways, thanks for listening. I hope you guys stick around for another episode.
Thanks, guys.